Stylistically, man, how does Shakur beat Teo and vice versa? Stylistically, how does Teo beat Shakur?
Stylistically, Teo got to go in and go for broke. He got to go gamble. He got to take some, get some. And
Roy Jones Jr. warned Teofimo Lopez that trying to outbox Shakur Stevenson would likely cost him the fight, saying Shakur's skill and discipline are too sharp. According to Jones, Teofimo's only chance is to ditch a clean technical approach and turn the matchup into a chaotic physical battle.
This one you don't have to answer.
Okay.
But I'm curious if you will answer it.
Yes.
Most overrated boxer right now.
Most overrated boxer right now.
You could go all time, I guess, if you wanted to.
I'll just say it. I think Shakur Stevenson.
Shakur Stevenson may seem boring to some fans, but Roy Jones Jr. sees him as a defensive genius and one of the most dangerous fighters in the world. While critics call him a runner, Stevenson doesn't just evade, he frustrates opponents by neutralizing their offense, landing precise counters and disappearing before they can respond. His footwork and distance control are unmatched, and Jones warns that anyone who tries to trade technical shots with him, like Teofimo Lopez, is practically walking into a trap they can't escape.
Shakur? No. Can Teo adjust to the point where he beats Shakur? Yeah. You don't see how? Shakur hates slick and economic boxers. So does Teo. They both hate what each other are. Shakur looks great against volume punchers. De Los Santos sitting back and not being active, Shakur doesn't look good. That's when they say he's boring. The thing is, Teofimo Lopez is an excellent fighter. He beat Josh Taylor and Lomachenko. How did he beat Lomachenko? By being patient. Y'all sleeping on Teo. And it's at 140. Now, the thing what's wrong with Teo is Teo also looks good as a counter puncher when you are a volume puncher too. Another thing is Teo looks very great when he's dialed in. He fights more athletic than Shakur. Shakur fights far more technically sound, and he's a more gifted fighter skill-wise. I'm leaning towards Shakur, but Teo can...
Roy Jones Jr.'s strategy for Teofimo Lopez sounds almost reckless to boxing purists. He's telling him to gamble everything. Instead of sticking to the traditional hit and don't get hit approach, Jones wants Lopez to accept taking punches just to land one fight-changing blow. He warns that if Teofimo plays it safe and stays tactical, Shakur Stevenson will dominate for 12 rounds. The only thing Stevenson can't calculate is chaos. So Jones is urging Lopez to abandon the game plan, forget the scorecards, and turn the fight into a higher risk, higher reward brawl where anything can happen.
Stylistically, Teo got to go in and go for broke. He got to go gamble. He got to take some, get some, and that's the only way to win. If he stays outside of boxes, Shakur gonna pick him apart. Shakur's the hottest boxer with some of the best speed in the game right now, and he's a defensive-minded fighter, which is very smart. It's hard to hit him. He makes you gamble to hit him, and he's going to be a tough one to deal with. But if Teofimo is willing to gamble to beat him, then Teofimo can definitely make it a really good fight.
If Teofimo Lopez gets drawn into a brawl and gets hit, critics who have questioned his toughness will feel vindicated. The venue only adds to the pressure. Madison Square Garden, a symbolic stage for both fighters. Lopez has had career-defining moments there, while Shakur Stevenson from nearby Newark treats it as home turf. The crowd will be loud, hostile, and split, and Jones warns that adrenaline will take over. If Teofimo waits until late rounds to panic under pressure, it could be too late. Jones advises starting the intensity from the opening bell to seize control before Shakur can capitalize.
Shows you that he can fight inside, he can fight outside. He would have the advantage of power in this fight. You know one thing that I love about this fight, Bud? Shakur's very athletic, very talented. So is Teofimo. He's more explosive with power, but Teofimo is very athletic. He is very talented. You got two athletic guys, two talented guys. Again, Teofimo I would favor with the power. This is going to be interesting. I'll give you my breakdown. I'll give you my pick when it gets closer and I do all my film work. But I'll tell you, it's a lot to like about these two athletic, talented...
Jones Jr.'s advice for Teofimo Lopez echoes the legendary Duran-Leonard clash in Montreal, where Duran forced Leonard into a brawl instead of a technical fight. Jones sees Teofimo as the disruptive force, the Duran to Shakur Stevenson's disciplined master. But the challenge is psychological. Lopez
He looked like he could be moved around by his
don't look
opponent.
like that.
It doesn't
Yeah.
look like that
Yeah.
anymore.
Yeah, no, he's definitely matured in his body. But first fight at 140, Tio's what? I think this is maybe his fifth fight at 140?
Yeah.
Something like that?
That's true, but Shakur has a frame where he can put on 140 very comfortably. I think he's going to look as strong as Devin Haney did stepping up to
Yes,
147.
I believe so
think he's
too,
going to
Joe.
feel really good at,
Yes.
junior welterweight.
Shakur is one of those guys and who comes along, and I think this is really the question about him. I said he is one of those guys. Is he one of those guys? Like Purnell, like Roy, like Floyd, their defenses were so good, and they boxed in a way where they weren't going to take unnecessary risks. They weren't running and holding. You know, I had a problem with the second half of the Haney-Norman fight because I felt like they continue to box. Purnell did, Roy did, and Shakur does now, right? But when a guy has those advantages in boxing skill and speed, and they don't take risks, they are almost impossible to beat. So no matter who Purnell was fighting, no matter who Roy was fighting, if someone would have asked me who they're going to be, they're fighting Godzilla, Purnell. They're fighting Roy. Shakur has that look to me, and the style to me, but does he rise to that level? Because it's not enough just to have that. It has to be executed in extremely.
prides himself on his boxing IQ, calling himself the takeover for his speed and smarts. To follow Jones's advice, he must admit he's technically outmatched by Stevenson and fight like a brawler, essentially abandoning the very style that made him a superstar. It's as much a mental battle as a physical one.
Has motion. He did his thing. He looked outstanding against William Cepeda at the Louis Armstrong Stadium. And this is what you guys need. This is what boxing needs. This is why we're here. We're here to take over. Now we got this lightweight coming up to super lightweight to come over here and dethrone the champ. And this is why this is the fight. And this is why this fight is happening early 2026. Everything that I learned has brought me to this moment here now. Every fighter that I faced in this beautiful weight class is going to now put me to the test and put all those attributes and all the things that I learned from every fighter that I face to now put it on display against Shakur Stevenson.
Because I seen him at his best. Against Taylor, against Lomachenko, he was at his very best. That was the best he can do. I don't think he can do nothing better than that. So
Self-projection. I think of Shakur as the best fighter on my resume to date.
And I'm way better than them guys you fought, so I can't wait to show you.
Teofimo Lopez's mental state is the biggest wild card heading into this fight. Over the past 2 years, he's been under intense scrutiny for both his in-ring performance and erratic behavior outside it.
Wise, is this going to be a great fight? I don't know if it will. I mean, style-wise, I could see you having a little reservations, you know, whether or not these guys will make for dynamite. They will make, you know, for electricity. I don't know if they will, but I'll tell you what they will make for. Two skillful fighters, two talented fighters, you know, two fighters that are at a high skill level that will compete in the sweet science. I mean, Shakur showed aggression in his last fight against Cepeda, you know, being elusive while being aggressive, you know, walking them down, fighting on the inside, you know, boxing well, still being able to counter, still being able to control space, but also be able to go into tight quarters and not be afraid to show that he's good on the inside too, that he can make you miss and make you pay outside and inside. Shakur showed that. That was great. That was great, and people applaud him. I applaud him. We were sitting there, ringside. I was sitting there actually with your sister, ringside, watching that fight. And it was a terrific performance. Shakur showing that dimension, showing that attitude, showing that competitiveness, showing that dog like people like to show or like to talk about, and they wanted to see in Shakur. Well,
From a messy public divorce to controversial comments about fighting, he's clashed with reporters and left fans puzzled with his unpredictable interviews. Roy Jones.
40,
Yeah.
something like that.
That's true, but Shakur has a frame where he can put on 140 very comfortably. I think he's going to look as strong as Devin Haney did stepping up to 147.
I believe so
think he's
too,
going to
Joe.
feel really good at,
Yes.
junior welterweight.
Shakur is one of those guys and who comes along, and I think this is really the question about him. I said he is one of those guys. Is he one of those guys? Like Purnell, like Roy, like Floyd, their defenses were so good, and they boxed in a way where they weren't going to take unnecessary risks. They weren't running and holding. You know, I had a problem with the second half of the Haney-Norman fight because I felt like they continue to box. Purnell did, Roy did, and Shakur does now, right? But when a guy has those advantages in boxing skill and speed, and they don't take risks, they are almost impossible to beat. So no matter who Purnell was fighting, no matter who Roy was fighting, if someone would have asked me who they're going to be, they're fighting Godzilla, Purnell. They're fighting Roy. Shakur has that look to me, and the style to me, but does he rise to that level? Because it's not enough just to have that; it has to be executed in extreme.
Jones Jr. sees this volatility as Lopez's potential advantage. Calm, focused Teofimo boxes, but a chaotic. Angry Teofimo might be reckless enough to pressure Shakur Stevenson and force a mistake. The key question is whether Lopez can channel that intensity without losing control.